With only mountains as their friends, the Kurds have long struggled for the right to govern themselves. World War I led to the breakup of the Ottoman Empire. The Kurds were offered a country of their own, but later the offer was withdrawn. Iraq began as a new country, a smaller group, and a foreigner as king who ruled over all other groups. Kurdistan became part of 4 countries and disappeared from world maps. All this and more led to revolts. For about 2 decades, Mustafa Barzani and others led revolts and uprisings. The Kurdistan Democratic Party, KDP, was formed to struggle for Kurdish rights. The KDP's aim was self-government and democracy. With 500 of his followers, Mustafa Barzani lived in exile for 12 years. The Iraqi monarchy was overthrown and a republic was established. Mustafa Barzani returned from exile and continued the struggle for self-governance. Soon thereafter, strong differences developed with the new Iraqi government. The KDP, led by Mustafa Barzani, began a revolution on September 11, 1961. After nearly a decade of armed conflict, Mustafa Barzani and Saddam Hussein reached an agreement that granted autonomy. As time went on, however, the terms of the agreement were not respected, and the revolution resumed. In Algiers, Saddam Hussein and the Shah of Iran agreed to cooperate in opposing the people of the Kurdistan region of Iraq. Tens of thousands of families fled their homes and became refugees in over a dozen countries. Saddam Hussein started a war with Iran, which caused great harm to thousands of families on both sides of the border. Soon after the Iraq-Iran war ended, the Iraqi government began the Anfal campaign against the people of the Kurdistan region, Kurds, Turkmen, and Christians. Over 4,000 communities were destroyed, and tens of thousands of families fled their homes. Chemical weapons were used against civilians in more than 200 sites, from near the border with Turkey in the northwest down to the southeast near the border with Iran, ending in the infamous incident at Halabja. Following Saddam Hussein's invasion of Kuwait in mid-1990, a coalition of militaries forced withdrawal in early 1991. Fearing retaliation and chemical weapons, nearly 2 million people fled the Kurdistan region. Later, under international protection and with UN assistance, the refugees returned to their homes. Refugees from 1975 also returned. Hundreds of destroyed communities were reconstructed and resettled. A few months after the war, Saddam Hussein cut the Kurdistan region in half with a militarized border. Food and fuel supplies were stopped. Electricity from the national grid was disconnected. Over 20,000 families were evicted from Kirkuk areas. High school graduates were not allowed to attend universities outside the region. The government of Iraq abandoned over 3 million citizens. As a result of the separation, the first internationally observed free and fair elections in Iraq were conducted in the Kurdistan region in May 1992. The Kurdistan National Assembly, the regional parliament, and the Kurdistan National Government were formed. They continue to this day. During the early 1990s, the people of the Kurdistan region faced severe hardship and a most uncertain future. The people lived under double economic sanctions by the international community and by the regime of Saddam Hussein. Despite lack of funds, the University of Salahaddin in the regional capital of Erbil continued to function. To accommodate a much higher number of qualified high school graduates, the university was expanded. Also, 2 new universities were started in the cities of Duhok and Sulaymaniyah. From 1992 to 1997, the Kurdistan region faced explosions and ambushes by the Baghdad regime and internal armed conflicts. All 4 neighbors conducted armed incursions into the region: Syria, Turkey, Iran, and the regime of Saddam Hussein. In 1997, the UN Oil for Food program offered humanitarian assistance to all citizens. Basic services were improved. All citizens received food rations. Education and health services were improved. Universities also received some support. The door to the future was literally blown wide open. The overthrow of the brutal regime of Saddam Hussein ushered in a new era of opportunity for a democratic, pluralistic, and federal Iraq. Since long before 2003, the region has been personally secure and politically stable. With substantial resources available, both human and material, the region is booming with many thousands of new construction projects, trade increases, and expansion of public services, including education.